Friends, welcome back to My TMS Journey. I'm Dani Fagan, and this is a conversation with Charlie Merrill. He is one of the experts in this field. He's a physiotherapist by trade, but he also teaches other practitioners and clinicians in the mind-body field how to incorporate mind-body practices, pain reprocessing therapy, and cures for chronic pain into their practices. So I wanted to talk about his course coming up soon, his in-person training in Boulder in Colorado. I want him to just basically give you the ins and outs of what to expect in that course. And yeah, I just want you to meet him. I think this is a really exciting and unique offering that they have. He's going to be doing the practitioner training with Dr. Howard Schubiner. So it's really, really a unique and important piece. So I'm going to invite him back in the room, if I remember how to do that. Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Dani.
How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for taking the time to connect today.
Yeah, thank you. I just did a little introduction to the basic pieces that I know of what it is you're going to be offering this coming June for your in-person training. But I just wanted also for you to introduce what it is that you do, a little bit about your background and who you serve in this space, because many people maybe not know about you. And what it is you've got coming up that is so exciting that we're going to be sharing more about on the website.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for making the space for that.
Yeah.
I'm a physical therapist based in Boulder, Colorado, in the USA. I've been practicing for, I guess, 23 years now, and I like to say that the first half of my career was very traditionally like manual therapy, body work, biomechanically based. That's how I was trained, and that's what I learned going through school. And at some point, I realized that my special sauce was my ability to listen and connect with people and develop what we call a therapeutic alliance, or like my relational skills, right? Or my emotional quotient. And I never
I
realized
feel that.
how important that was as an intervention in and of itself. I'd read John Sarno's book in my 20s when I had a herniated disc in my back, and it was so helpful. And I was like, I wonder if anybody's doing anything, if anyone's taken his work and like expanded it clinically, because I was really looking for the next step. Like, I can needle, I can manipulate, I can do fascial relief, and like teach people how to move better. But it's not always the right thing. I could tell that I was missing something. So I connected with Dr. Howard Schubiner, which was a great first person to connect with.
Yeah, wow, go straight to the top. Set the bar really high for yourself.
Really fortunate. And I went and trained with him and Alan Gordon. And so it was funny because like my colleagues, my physical therapy colleagues were really getting into pain neuroscience and pain neuroscience education. And the emergence of that sort of paralleled me connecting with Dr. Schubiner. And as you probably know, the mind-body medicine world is a bit different. And so my sort of lead in to this work was through that, more of this like psychological side, right? Learning more of these psychological strategies, which was a little odd for a physical therapist to come into it that way. But what I quickly realized is that these two things needed to be synthesized. There's so much value in both. The pain neuroscience, science makes us all feel safe, right? The pain neuroscience creates this great foundation that allows us to move beyond that nerdy stuff and really get into what I feel like are the most helpful strategies, focusing more on pain reprocessing therapies and emotional awareness and expression. And so, I had to unlearn a ton of stuff that I learned in physical therapy.
Yeah, I bet.
It was hard. I remember calling Howard and saying, Howard, are you going to tell me to stop doing body work and that exercise isn't important, right? And he said, no, it's not what this is about. So I really appreciated that there was this opportunity to really synthesize all of this. And that's what this course is about, Beyond Pain Education, the course that he and I now co-teach. It's a real honor to be able to teach with him. And this course is really meaningful. Like, it's always very emotional at the end of teaching this course because, as you know, the work is so powerful and meaningful, and it has such an impact on people's lives that when I send a group of clinicians out into the world with this knowledge and they've transformed the way they think and their mindset and their belief, I know that they're going to have a big impact. So, so this course for me is really me wrestling for, 10 years, trying to figure out how do I continue to do body work? How do I continue to teach movement, but in a way that's not playing back into this old model of tissue damage and injury and dysfunction, which is still the mainstream, narrative when people talk about pain. And so how do I really do that with fidelity to what I now know, and then be able to weave in these other pieces around somatic tracking and looking at life stress and past trauma and personality traits, and can these two things live together? And I wrestled with that for a long time as part of developing this course, and even had some interesting conversations with Howard back and forth about, is this really a binary? Is this really a dualistic question? You either have TMS or you have a structural problem, or is there like some gray to be able to consider this?
Right. Definitely some crossover. Right. I think it's really beneficial as well that, that mainstream narrative is still happening, because the vast majority of people that have a physical issue are going to go to somebody like you, are going to go to a practitioner of some sort, some kind of clinician. Then they're not necessarily going to go to a mind body thing first, if anything last. So you're like at the head of that funnel of people that are suffering, really. So that's amazing if you can get that message to more of people like you, more of your colleagues, like you say, then that is just like a huge place to spread the healing message.
Yeah, it does feel that way. It feels like we, a physical therapist, or I'll just put all of us in one bucket, the sort of more body oriented, biomedically trained clinicians. I think what we have the opportunity to do is really evaluate the body, because this is a really important missing piece for a lot of people. Like, they can engage in the process of mind-body healing, but there may still be this little doubt in the back of their mind about their EDS, or about their their glutes not firing, or something maybe being wrong with their body. And so that first step of really evaluating someone thoroughly is something that we were taught to do. And of course, we were taught to come away with that with a laundry list of problems, right? We were taught to look at the body and say, look at all these things that are wrong with you. Right. And so this course is about flipping that and saying, can you use those same skills actually to rule the body out, and to really give people clarity about what's true and what's not true about their body, so that they can move forward. Most of the time we can do that. I mean, it turns out 9 times out of 10, the list of things that are actually important is quite small, if there's a list at all.
And helping people as well to, I find this a lot in the work that I do in the sort of very gentle yoga and those kind of approaches for the, not so able-bodied people in this space, that it's a really big piece to kind of teach people that not to fear your body and not to fear what is going on, right? That's one of the main sort of lessons in this. And I think you probably find that a lot in your practice. But also it's really interesting to me because when I was recovering myself, excuse me, I had to kind of ditch all of the physical things I was doing to my symptoms, because I was treating them so laser focusedly that I was relying on these treatments to make me feel better and fix me. I was hoping that would be the fix, like chiropractic care, or like once a week, like physiotherapy. I was having, laser treatment, all sorts of shit. So it's really interesting to me to see, and so powerful, really. There's something that I feel about this that I'm not really sure how to word it, that is so powerful, that you're bridging the gap between something that I thought originally was to be put aside, the physical treatment, the bodywork style stuff, and focus only on the psychological, which for me worked initially, but I did definitely incorporate more body-based stuff, obviously with the yoga and somatics and stuff. But it feels like a really important piece that you're offering. with
Yeah.
Howard as well. I think it's just like, it's so powerful.
Yeah, part of unlearning, like as a clinician, right? We're helping people to shift their belief, our clients, our patients to shift their belief. It starts with us. We have to first shift our own belief. And so I like to say that I'm using my manual therapy skills now for good instead of evil. I don't want to breed dependency, right? I don't want to send the wrong message. I'm very careful about how I educate people about why I'm intervening. But there's a place for touch, and people like touch, and it's healing, and it's therapeutic in its own way, as long as we're not sending people the wrong message while we're doing it. And then, I needed permission to get out of my silo as a body-oriented clinician and start talking about feelings and start talking about breath and start just collaborating with people about what's going on in their lives. And one of the things that we talk about in the course is this idea that I was taught as a clinician that I have all the answers, that the people are coming to me solve their problem. And it turns out that the opposite is true. As you start doing this work, you realize you don't really know anything.
Right.
And your job is to help the person understand what's true for them. And there's some amount of relief in that as a clinician. When you really start doing this work, that your job is to sort of bear witness.
It's powerful stuff. It's powerful stuff. And for the patient as well, I'm not sure if you call them patients or clients or what, the user.
Person
I think there's massive power in just feeling seen and understood by a practitioner, not being gaslit into saying there's something wrong with you, or I'm going to sell you 12 weeks of chiropractic care or bodywork care or whatever, and it's just going to do absolutely nothing or make you worse, maybe. Like, this is a real powerful message that you're offering people, but just the space to be actually heard as well. Like, that's massive.
Yeah. And I needed new skills to be able to do that. And I embrace that process. This course is not for everybody. It definitely takes a certain type of person to want to embrace these new skills and dig deep into this stuff. But most of the clinicians that we've trained, they talk about how much more they enjoy their work. They talk about how much better their outcomes are. And they talk about how it benefits them in their own lives, right? Even to understand personality traits and to see how our psychology affects our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. There's benefit for our clients as well as for us personally.
Oh, for sure. I guess a lot of people maybe that would be listening to this, or that you'll probably encounter in this space, will have probably come to this work from their own experience like you did. I think a lot of people get into this sort of field because of their own experience, right? So with that in mind, then, like, who is this course for? Is this for specific people that are already in a professional capacity, or is this for anyone that might want to get into a professional capacity? Like, who is that for?
Yeah, I would say it's oriented towards clinicians. The people that are body oriented now, that have the sort of the medical training or the ability to evaluate the body, I think it'll resonate most for that audience, because we're trying to help them expand their skill set, get out of their silo, and actually add things that they can synthesize. That said, there are plenty of people that are more psychologically oriented that really appreciate the course because it's so foundational, as it gives people sort of some structure and an understanding of like this larger model that they could really synthesize with anything, whether it's IFS or EMDR or and people that are struggling to overcome their own pain come to the course and really benefit from it as well. So I don't want to discriminate, against one group, but it's definitely sort of clinician oriented in that way. And one of my favorite things about the course that makes it unique, at least among courses, continuing education courses that I've taken, is that we're not just training and hoping that people will be good at it. We have this ongoing mentoring, this now it's become weekly consult group where we get together on Zoom. People can drop in, they can share cases, we can review things, we can practice concepts to continue to reinforce, because as you know, the work is expansive. Like the more you practice it, the better you get at it. And you just continue to learn and continue to expand your skills as you do it more, as you see more people.
Right.
So
and it's constantly evolving as well, isn't it? It's like it's the kind of goalposts they're set in stone. We know what the practices are, but like the new research that's coming out and all the studies that are coming out and all of that, like that is so bang on to have as such a great resource to add to that you have this continual ongoing. Is that that's not like a lifetime thing, right? I mean, is that, how long does that go on for the people that take part? Is that just as long as you decide to keep it going?
I don't know, Dani. You know, I'm a terrible business person. I like this consult group was one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
So right now, I don't feel like I want to put any rules or limits around it.
I love it.
So I just encourage people to come ongoing as much as they feel like they're inspired to come. And it's not, not everybody's gonna want to show up every week, and that's okay.
Sure.
It's monthly. The people that come just continue to grow and expand and get better at what they're doing. So at this point, it's unlimited. Yeah.
Love it. Is this something that, not to discriminate or to pigeonhole anything or anyone, but is this something that maybe that there are coaches in this space that might want to get involved in if they don't necessarily have, like, if they're not a medical doctor or a nurse or whatever? I don't know the words for these types of people. Is that something that can be sort of continual education for, mind body coaches in this space, for example?
Yeah. I think that there's no question that the coaches will benefit from this course. Especially because my experience with mentoring a number of coaches is that they spend a lot of time trying to bust myths for people about the body, right? About what the body is and what the body isn't. And so I think they'll come out of this course with a lot of confidence in talking about some of these traditionally biomedical issues, these body issues. They'll come out of this course with confidence, being able to address those concerns in their clients. These things that hold people back from moving on to really doing the work, from really truly belief.
Right.
And just surrounding themselves with other clinicians that are talking about this stuff so clearly. There's no mystery, despite the fact that the mainstream narrative is still the body.
Yes.
The body. Those of us that are immersed in the science and do this every day in clinical practice, we have a sort of confidence that we develop when we talk about some of these diagnoses that I think our clients depend on and they rely on. Like, they need someone working with them, supporting them, that can bring what I call belligerent confidence into the conversation to just cut through the bullshit, so to speak.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And you definitely tick that box for sure.
Yeah. And I think that, people can do that for themselves in time, but any coach is going to benefit from learning these foundational skills, having a structure, right? Having some even clinical rules about how do you make the diagnosis of primary pain or TMS.
Right.
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
So maybe go into then a little bit about what is it you cover in the course, not necessarily in too much detail, just to give an idea of, what sort of stuff, like you say, how, will you be able to diagnose people? How would that go? Like what to expect on the course, and what are the options that participants can, that what they have, you have the in-person and the online recorded version. So regardless of which course you come to, the structure is very similar. And you know that the sort of the body rule out, like ruling out the body, is sort of an important first step before you start to rule in the brain. And start to use those strategies. A lot of people come to us already having done a lot of that body rule out. So not all coaches are going to be able to do a physical exam or a medical exam to look at reflexes and sensation, but we do go over that stuff in the course. That said, if you have just a little bit of that diagnostic skill to be able to look at what people have already done, you can very quickly move through that phase of the process. So day one, or in this case, the first component, if you're in the live course, is sort of the intro and the setup around the paradigm shift in how we understand pain. Day two, or the second component, really gets into how do you take a good subjective history
what questions you need to ask, above and beyond what I learned in physical therapy school, right?
Yes.
Fleshing that out. Then you get into the objective exam. How do you really do that well in a way where you're not increasing fear, where you're coming away as a clinician with clarity about what the body is? Is there stuff that's related to adaptive change and deconditioning? These are things that are the result of pain, the result of fear. Are there things that we need to address, or can we support people in getting moving again, but without increasing fear, right? The third day, or the third component, starts to get into like, how do you conceptualize someone's case? How do you sort of, as a clinician or a coach, get your head around, how do I structure this person's plan? And how do I educate them? Like, how do I really help them understand where we're headed? Because that's an art in and of itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Get into somatic tracking and the sort of PRT strategies, pain reprocessing.
Pain reprocessing. Mm-hmm.
And my favorite part of that is, can we integrate body work and movement into some of those strategies? In other words, can I have someone on the table and I'm working on them, but we're doing somatic tracking, or we're actively reducing fear, or we're talking about, how the needling technique that I'm using is really just having a conversation with their brain to try to safety or interrupt this old neural pathway, or introduce a new prediction, if you want to talk about coding. So that component's fun. And then the next part is the emotional awareness and expression component, which I think is really unique, because not everyone does well with PRT or somatic tracking. Some people need a bit more emotional. Let's talk about what's going on in your life. You can do that during body work and movement. You can express anger by slamming a ball on the ground, right? And say what you need to say. And we get into visualization. We're integrating visualization into this, but sometimes it's going back and talking about hard things that happened in the past and taking people back and doing memory reconsolidation. So we touch on a lot of these things, and that's why I say it's a foundation. And people will go on to like say, I want to do somatic experiencing now. I want to do FS. I want to do, I want to learn more about EAET. And then we talk about a ton of cases. We problem solve cases. There's a lot of experiential breakout work in both the asynchronous and the live course. And then the last day is like troubleshooting and more case conversations and practice. Like a really
interactive kind of part, right? Yeah, amazing.
Part, and like, how do we put this all together, and what does this look like in the clinic? And we talk about billing. We talk about how do you set up your clinical practice to do this work, and really all of it is sort of just trying to imbue confidence in clinicians to step out of their silo and really do this well, because as you know, like the biomedical model is not evidence-based. We can't just treat the body anymore. So if any physical therapist says, I'm an evidence-based clinician, but they're not talking about psychology and social realities. They're not evidence-based.
Right. It also kind of feels a bit prehistoric now. The more you know, the more it seems just so wildly out of reality how things still are, right?
And you can't just educate people out of their pain either. We have research on this.
No.
My colleagues that are saying, I'm a pain specialist and I know PNE plus, pain neuroscience education plus, which is like, let's add diet and sleep and stress and these other things into education. It's still not going far enough for a lot of people, unfortunately.
Agreed.
So this is like radical permission to blow up everything you learned in school and
rewrite the script a bit. It's so powerful. And I think that, like, just what you were saying there about combining the mind body tools that I'm aware of into your body work and into an in-person or online, I guess, as well, like a one-to-one situation, like how powerful that is. Like I've experienced that obviously in groups where I teach and stuff, whether that's yoga or, this information, this sort of coaching style stuff. But to have that in person and have someone walk you through that, getting over the fear barrier and all of that stuff in their body in that moment, that must just be supersonically powerful for you and for them. But, to be a patient in that experience, I can imagine that is just like groundbreaking, really.
Yeah. I mean, the working, but both I can get emotional, but also my clients can get really emotional, right? You see this
Yeah,
happen.
I bet.
And even sometimes just referring to someone as an athlete and or like showing them that they can move and that it's okay and that it's safe, like at the
Yes,
most basic
everything.
level, that is so
It's
emotional.
everything. Yeah. So powerful. I'm so excited for this. I think this is, I mean, I know you've already done this at different cohorts and stuff before, but this is brand new to me. I'm really excited about this. Um, do you still do one-to-one clients? Like, can people contact you if they want to, outside of your course stuff? Can they contact you for personal Charliness?
Yeah, sure. I see people as a physical therapist here locally.
Boulder,
People
you're in Colorado, Boulder, right?
in Colorado, people fly in sometimes, or if they're
Mm-hmm.
visiting. But I treated a client in Ireland yesterday and another client in New Zealand. This was
Amazing.
more of a coach, and there's a lot we can do virtually, even when it comes to like watching people move and doing certain tests and getting clarity about the body piece of it. A lot of that I can do,
Right.
and I can rule things out from a distance. It's not
Amazing.
quite as good as being in person,
Sure.
but yeah, I love to work with people around the world because, as you know, we need to reproduce. We need more of us, Dani.
Yeah, 100%. Let's clone ourselves. Let's create some AI bots of us.
I mean, isn't it?
Brilliant. So if people, obviously all the links and everything that for your, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to just confirming what the details are for the different versions of the course. So you have an in-person one coming up in June, right? And that's in Boulder.
Boulder, in collaboration with the Boulder Center for Mind Body Medicine. I trained with Dr. Brad Fanistel, who's an amazing physician, internal medicine doc, and he's one of the people that transformed his practice more than anyone I've ever seen. He was a medication prescriber, opioid.
Mm-hmm.
He did all the traditional stuff, and he just completely blew up his practice and started this new center. So Boulder's becoming a hub, I think, or Denver is becoming a hub for this work, which
Yeah,
is great. So we're teaching at the Boulder Community Health in collaboration with their center, which is really exciting.
amazing.
Happening. It's all happening.
It's so exciting. You guys
That's
are at the
June.
forefront.
I hope, all of us, right?
Yeah.
June 9 to 11, that'll be an in-person training, the first we've done since before COVID. And in the meantime, we built this asynchronous course, which is basically the last time we taught it virtually. People can self-pace through that content. There are breakouts, there are tons of resources, there are experiential practice.
And that ongoing support resource of the Zoom calls or the Slack groups or something you mentioned to me as well the other day, is that available to the people doing the self-paced version as well?
Absolutely, yeah. Both,
Amazing.
they can come to those while they're participating in the course. I sort of think of it as like an office hours,
Yeah.
and then continue to come to it after they're done with the course. So yeah, it's available to both. So there's kind of a live component as a result to both.
Amazing. Yeah, you have that in-person one-to-one with you, one-to-one group, face-to-face rather.
Yeah, well, and of course,
such an amazing resource.
Of course, the clinicians are learning from each other too, right?
Right.
Like not just me. Like the clinicians are amazing the way they as they're learning with this sort of beginner's mindset, they're sharing with each other, and I learn things from that.
Yeah.
And everyone's building their practice or their coaching practice in their own way, and so the idea sharing is really rich.
It's beautiful. Look what you created. It's so cool. You should be so proud of yourself. It's amazing. Yeah. I'm really excited for this. What was I going to ask? There was something else I was going to ask you. I wasn't going to ask. I was going to announce that you've offered a very generous discount for anybody that wants to participate in the upcoming in-person course or the self-paced study course that is going to be linked down below on this page, wherever you're viewing this video, a $200 discount for participants in either of those versions. Have I got that right?
You got it. I'm assuming the asynchronous course will be more attractive to most people that are watching this, because the live course is coming up, and we'll do it again. So if you miss it this time, have the opportunity. Maybe we'll take it on the road at some point, and
on a tour bus
to the UK.
That'd be amazing.
You can work with us, Dani. That would be
Oh my God, I'd love to. Oh, you've totally sold it to me. Like, I would love to do it. Just to hang out with you and Schubiner. I'd be all over that.
You would love it. So yeah, we're offering this discount. There's a lot of work that goes into putting this course together and the ongoing support of clinicians. And I don't want there to be too much of a financial barrier for coaches and clinicians. People are welcome to reach out to me if they have, a challenge with that, or if they're a student.
Sure.
They need some type of other arrangement. I'm really accessible.
Amazing. That's really generous.
Questions, or they want clarity about what we're talking about. I'm always available to talk about that.
And would that be best to, sorry to interrupt you, would that be best for people to contact you via email, or how would that be most comfortable for you?
Yeah, email or phone is fine. I'm not hard to find.
Okay, great. Well, your phone is going to be busy. You're going to regret that.
I want people to have access and know about this course, so I appreciate
it. Yeah. We'll leave all of the information to contact you directly in your Instagram links and all of that as well, which, by the way, if you don't already follow Charlie, the Instagram content that he provides is just, why am I talking about you like you're not here? That you provide is just absolutely excellent. It's so engaging and fun and bang on. Like, you have your own very unique flavor of presenting this information. I absolutely love it. I'm a big fan. So yeah, go follow Charlie if you don't already. All the links are going to be in the spiel down below. So just to confirm then, the in-person course, what is the price with the discount?
The price for the asynchronous course is $695.
Self-paced, yeah.
Self-paced. That includes the consult afterwards, unlimited access. And the live course is $795. If people want to make the trip to Boulder, Colorado, we'd love to see you.
Yeah, so exciting. I just want to check my notes and see whether I've missed anything.
I will say that there are 24 in the US. We have continuing education credits that we need to get to fulfill our licensure requirement every 2 years.
Okay.
We need 30 credits every 2 years. This course provides 24 credits to physical therapists. So that's
an amazing point. Yeah, amazing. I don't really know what that means, but I get what you're talking about. I understand I understand what you're saying. I don't understand what all the Americanisms are, but I understand. People that are listening to you, that'll make sense too.
Exactly.
I don't think I have anything else to ask you. I think we've covered all the bases, really. Yeah. You got anything else you want to share about the course coming up, or about anything else?
No, I think
say hi to your mom or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You and I could just talk about travel probably for another hour.
Oh yeah. We'll log off now and chat shit about something else.
I will say that I have another course that I'm building that's kind of in the works. That's my niche is sort of athletes, and I want this information to get to that audience, because I don't think they're hearing it. The idea of overuse and overtraining and wear and tear, those things need to die. So I'm building a course that's specifically for athletes that are trying to overcome pain. And that's hopefully coming in the next few months. So keep an eye out for that on social media. And
awesome.
Excited about that.
Yeah, awesome. I think it was, I can't remember what it was I was listening to a while back. It was some podcast that was saying that, like, well, it makes sense that the vast majority of like Olympians and highly effective athletes, whatever you want to call it, are generally like straight A, high achievers, do-gooders, try-harders. Like, there's a reason why these people become athletes and why they become winners, right? So they fit in that, they fit perfectly in the chronic space, really, don't they? It's sort of like ripe for something to kick off, especially if you're using your body like a tool. It's kind of like, it's inevitable in some way, one way or another, I suppose.
It's a default knee-jerk reaction to say, well, you're an athlete, so you must be injured.
Yeah.
But pain is the best way to get any athlete's attention.
100%.
And the brain knows how to tell that athlete that something's not okay, and pain is best. Yeah.
And nobody wants an injury to get them out of whatever success they're going to want, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, thanks so much for your time, Charlie. Is there anything else that you'd want to share or that you want to say? Or we can always add stuff in the show notes and the description, the page and everything. So that are we good?
I think I have to run and see a client. This is like the way the days are, right? It's like one thing. So time to
get back to your day job.
Doing the good work. But
yeah.
Let's talk again if you ever have any other topic that you want to sort of wrap out and put our heads together and really share ideas for your audience.
Definitely. I think there's a lot of crossover in not necessarily what you're offering, what I am, but we kind of bridge that space between physical and mental and getting back to movement without fear and all of that kind of story. So yeah, there's definitely scope for all sorts of things, and just, friendship and hanging upside down on your squat rack, whatever that is.
That's it. You got it.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you so much.
Dani, I appreciate you.
Okay, my love. Take care.
You too.